Welcome, racing fans, to this NASCAR race review on Tim Reynolds Show. Make sure you hit that like button as I'm reviewing the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs Round of 8 race at Martinsville Speedway. And this will be the last race in the Round of 8, so let's find out who was able to punch their ticket into the Championship 4 next week at Phoenix Raceway. And we would see the number 19 Toyota, driven by Martin Truex Jr., start out on the pole in this one, but we would see the number 9 Chevy, driven by Chase Elliott, start out second, and the number 24 Chevy, driven by William Byron, start out in third position, as these two Hendrick Motorsports teammates would play a pivotal part into how this race would end, as both of these playoff drivers really showed out in this race. But we would see the number 19, who started out on the pole, actually lead a bunch of laps in this one to start out the race, but unfortunately Martin Truex Jr. would get caught with a speeding penalty on pit road and get caught up in a couple of cautions that would really mess up his day, pushing him to the back. And then we would see a controversial ending in this race, after we would see the number 12 Ford, driven by Ryan Blaney, the defending and reigning Cup Series champion, pass by the number 9 Chevy of Chase Elliott with 15 laps to go. Now, after Chase Elliott led a bunch of laps in this race and was looking like a contender, he also had to come back from a stumble in the pits, what's cost him a bunch of spots and pushed him back near the 30th position, and he was able to come all the way back and get the lead near the end of this race. But Ryan Blaney was able to make a big solid push and get the lead with 15 to go, and Ryan Blaney would win at Martinsville Speedway and punch his ticket into the Championship 4, as the number 12 Ford for Penske Racing will now be racing for a championship in back-to-back years. And Ryan Blaney does it again, the same way he did last year when he finished at Miami Homestead Speedway in second place. Just like he did last week, he did the same thing last year. And at this Martinsville Speedway, he wins the race to punch his ticket into the Championship 4, just like he did last year. So will Ryan Blaney be able to repeat as the Cup Series champion in the Championship 4? We'll have to wait to find out, but congratulations to that Penske Racing team and Ryan Blaney. But the controversial ending at this would have to do with a couple of other playoff drivers in the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, as the number 24 Chevy of William Byron would finish ahead of the number 20 Toyota, driven by Christopher Bell. But due to points in the standings, because neither one of these drivers were able to win, that's what it would come down to, is the points. And at the end of this race, it would be 0-0, meaning that both William Byron and Christopher Bell were tied at the end of this race. Now, where does the controversy come from? Well, we would see first off that there was a couple of Chevys driving behind the number 24 William Byron and his Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports, as the number 1 Chevy and also another Chevy were driving side by side. The number 3 Chevy there for Richard Childress Racing were kind of holding up a bunch of other cars, it felt like, for maybe a couple of laps, trying to help out their Chevy teammate, as we heard a couple of communications over the radio on the NBC broadcast. But that would not be really what was controversial. What was controversial was the number 20 Toyota, driven by Christopher Bell, would actually try to make a pass on the last couple of turns of the racetrack to get one position ahead to be able to get into the Championship 4 for a third straight year. But unfortunately, the NASCAR would rule that the number 20 had a safety violation, because when he passed by a car in corner 3, he got loose and got into the wall about halfway into the corner, and unfortunately he gassed it, riding the side of the wall, which is a safety violation according to NASCAR. Now, a few years back, we seen the number 1 Chevy, driven by Ross Chastain, do what we famously call a Hail Melon, or a Hail Mary, if you will, just punching the gas and going through turns 3 and 4, riding the wall the whole way, where he was able to pass by Denny Hamlin, the number 11 Toyota, right before the finish line to be able to punch his ticket into the Championship 4 a couple years ago, where NASCAR banned that. And that's exactly what they ruled here, that Christopher Bell caused a safety violation by riding on the wall, hitting the gas when he probably should have braked, and there were no violations for the radio contact that we found out from the Chevy guys who were helping out William Byron. But NASCAR rules that William Byron will now be a part of the championship 4 due to the number 20 Christopher Bell's safety violation, which means the Joe Gibbs Racing will not be inside of this championship 4, as they had not only the number 20 Christopher Bell, his Toyota, eliminated, but also the number 11 Toyota driven by Danny Hamlin would also be eliminated after he raced a very, very good race in this one at Martinsville. He actually had a chance to win this race near the end, but unfortunately he ends up finishing 5th in this one. And man, what a tough break for not only Denny Hamlin but Christopher Bell, after he thought he was going into the championship 4. NASCAR rules that he unfortunately made a safety violation on the racetrack, and that's what cost him. Now we will see the number 24 William Byron, his Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports, is now into the championship 4, which means our championship 4 for next week at Phoenix Raceway, racing for the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series Championship, will be the defending series champion Ryan Blaney in the number 12 Ford for Penske Racing, and also his teammate, the number 22 Ford of Joey Logano, who was able to win earlier in this round of 8, and also the number 45 Toyota for 2311 Motorsports. Tyler Reddick will also be racing for a championship, and William Byron, the number 24 Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports, will join them, as these 4 drivers now will race their tails off at Phoenix Raceway to find out who will be the next NASCAR Cup Series champion. Guys, this has been your NASCAR race review from Tim Reynolds Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and just going over the last little standings and stats for you guys in here from the results at Martinsville Speedway. We'll give you guys the quick top 10 rundown. Ryan Blaney obviously finishes the race in first. Chase Elliott made a valiant effort in this one, but he ends up finishing second, and he finishes unfortunately outside of the championship 4, which means he was eliminated because he couldn't win this race. And also his teammate, the number 5 Chevy driven by Kyle Larson, had a really good race in this one too, ends up finishing 3rd, but he is also knocked out of the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Also, we see Austin Cindric, the number 2 Ford for Penske Racing, helps finish the top 5 here with his teammate, but unfortunately Austin Cindric was eliminated early on in the playoffs, but he gets a top 5 finish here on the second to last race of the game of the season. And then also Denny Hamlin, the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs, finishes out the top 5. William Byron ends up finishing 6th, which thank goodness he did, because that's what helped get him over the hump on points after the safety violation. We also seen Austin Dillon in the number 3 Chevy finish 7th. Ross Chastain, the number 1 Chevy for Trackhouse Racing, finishes 8th. Brad Keselowski, the number 6 Ford for RFK Racing, finishes 9th. And Joey Logano finishes out the top 10 here at Martinsville Speedway. And man, what a race. What a controversial ending here. It has been a crazy season thus far in the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series, and it all comes down to this final race this upcoming weekend. Thank you guys for checking out Tim Reynolds Show's NASCAR race reviews. Thank you guys. Make sure you hit the comments up. Let me know what you guys think of the season so far, who's your favorite driver, and what you guys think of the show. I really appreciate y'all's feedback, and thank you so much for checking out all of the sports news and sports entertainment you can only get from right here on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you guys so much. Peace out, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. Peace out.